Welcome to the Uncommon Sense. We constantly talk about power, who holds it, how they use it, and what policies they enact. But we rarely ask a deeper question. How does a leader think? We're not talking about ideology. We're talking about the deep, foundational programming that shapes every decision, every priority, and every vision for a nation. So what if I told you that every leader, no matter how powerful, is just a product of school programming? That presidents, prime ministers, and CEOs don't lead from instinct, they lead from education. Think of it this way. Education isn't just knowledge, it's programming. The education we receive, the profession we master, fundamentally rewires our brain to see the world through a specific lens. A lawyer sees rights and violations. An engineer sees systems and constraints. A CEO sees assets and return on investments. This is Mindsets in Power, a series that explores how what leaders learned in school shapes how they rule the world. The series is guided by the premise that people become what they learn, and their programming dictates their policies. We explore a simple, yet revolutionary question. What if a nation's biggest crises are nothing more than a leadership mindset mismatch? Our core argument is simple but often overlooked. Leaders always think like their training dictates. Their professional background is the dominant mindset in power. From the moment we enter a classroom, we learn how to think, how to solve problems, how to justify decisions, and even how to define what's good leadership. Therefore, education installs an operating system. It doesn't just give you files. It determines how you process information, what tools you have access to, and how you solve problems. A lawyer is programmed for process, precedent, and negotiation. The core directive is advocacy and precedent. Lawyers are trained to build a case, to find evidence that supports their client, to look for loopholes, and to argue to win within an existing legal framework. Their primary tool is the word. Their goal is a favorable judgment. Their priority is establishing clear rules, maintaining constitutional order, and managing conflict through established frameworks. They start seeing the world as a courtroom. Every problem has a plaintiff, a defendant, precedent, and loophole. So when a lawyer becomes president, you get a nation obsessed with rules and justice. They excel in times of political transition or judicial reform, where establishing a stable democratic framework is the primary mission. But when faced with an infrastructure crisis, their default solution might be to pass a new law or hold a commission, not to draw a new blueprint. An engineer is programmed for systems, efficiency, and structural integrity. The core directive is optimization within constraints. Engineers are given a problem, build a bridge, fix a network, and a set of constraints: budget, physics, materials. They model, they test, they iterate. Their goal is a functional, efficient, and durable solution. Their priority is finding the most scalable, durable, and cost-effective solution to a physical problem. Their truth is empirical. The question is always, does it work or does it break? Hence, as leaders, engineers see a country as a complex machine to be optimized. They don't see a city, they see load-bearing walls, traffic flow algorithms, and failure points. So, when an engineer leads, infrastructure becomes destiny. This is crucial for rapid modernization and infrastructure development, as seen in countries like China. But when faced with a human rights crisis, their tendency might be to view complexity as an element to be controlled or managed, rather than a freedom to be protected. A businessperson or economist is programmed for markets, incentives, and return on investment (ROI). The core directive is value creation and growth. The world is a marketplace. Resources are capital. Outcomes are measured in profit, loss, and market share. Decisions are based on return on investment. Their priority is maximizing growth, attracting capital, and eliminating inefficiencies. They smell profit the way sharks smell blood. The question is always, is this the most efficient allocation of resources to generate growth? When a businessperson takes charge, efficiency and profit dominate policy. This is vital when a country's mission is economic liberalization and global integration. But their programming can lead them to overlook social costs, public services, and equity, seeing people primarily as consumers or productive units. The pattern is clear. Every profession gives you a pair of specialized glasses. We don't just learn skills, we learn mindsets. And those mindsets become the architecture of power. This isn't opinion. This is cognitive imprinting. Your education doesn't just give you knowledge. It gives you a permanent operating system. A brilliant lawyer is still running a lawyer's OS. A philanthropic businessperson is still applying a cost-benefit analysis to their charity. It's the water they swim in. It's their first instinct, their native language for understanding the world. Look around the world, and you'll see this pattern everywhere. China, led by engineers like Hu Jintao and Xi Jinping, focuses on construction, manufacturing, and megaprojects. The United States, historically dominated by lawyers, focuses on law, rights, and constitutional balance. Singapore, guided by technocrats and economists, focuses on world-class infrastructure and efficient governance. The problem arises when the leader's glasses don't match the national mission. A country is always in a specific phase of development. The key to successful governance is aligning the mindset in power with the national mission. When they misalign, the country stalls or even collapses. This is what we call the leadership mismatch. The phases include build phase, heal phase, grow phase, and protect phase. In the build phase, you're laying bricks, rails, dams, fiber optic cables. You need engineers who think in systems, optimization, and precision. Through systems thinking, long-term durability planning, and evidence-based solutions, engineers can help build nations and solve logistical problems. For example, China 1990 to 2025. Hu Jintao, a hydraulic engineer, and Xi Jinping, a chemical engineer, leadership has resulted in 45,000 kilometers of high-speed rail, 99 new airports, 800 million people out of poverty. When engineers lead a building nation, GDP curves look like rocket trajectories. Putting a lawyer in charge here is a mismatch. You'll get great speeches about the right to housing, but not a single cost-effective house built on time. You need a builder-in-chief. In the heal phase, you're coming out of war, genocide, or dictatorship. Streets are full of graves, not traffic. You need peace builders and conflict resolution architects who think in empathy, dialogue, and reconciliation. They can help rebuild trust and social cohesion after conflict. For example, Liberia post-2003. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf economics and mediation training and the Paleva Hut system turned child soldiers into college students. When generals stay in charge during healing phase, the war just changes uniforms. This is because the general's operating system sees political disagreement as a battle to be won or a hierarchy to be enforced, not a complex human trauma to be mediated and healed. The result? The cycle of violence continues. In the grow phase, you have stability in a hyper-competitive global economy. The challenge is growth, innovation, and navigating international trade. You need economists and business people who think in markets, incentives, and growth. They are a powerful engine that can help drive prosperity and boost economies. For example, Rwanda 2000 today. Paul Kagame, despite having a military background, surrounded himself with MBA technocrats, resulting in 8% annual GDP growth for 20 years. When lawyers run growth phase, everything becomes a 400-page bill that never gets funded. In the protect phase, you're a mature power. Threats are constitutional crises, secession, foreign influence. You need lawyers and institutional designers who think in rules, justice, and precedent. They can help build strong institutions. For example, USA 1933 to 1953. Franklin Roosevelt, a lawyer, an entire New Deal team of constitutional scholars rewrote the social contract and saved democracy from collapsing. But put lawyers in charge during build phase, you get endless environmental impact statements while the dam never gets built. Nations, at different points in their life cycle, face fundamentally different kinds of challenges. So here's the theory behind this entire playlist, what I call the leadership alignment model. A nation's success depends on matching the dominant mindset of its leadership with its developmental phase. For example, a nation in chaos needs mediators, diplomats, peace builders. A nation in reform needs lawyers and policy thinkers. A nation in growth phase needs engineers, planners, builders, and a nation in crisis or transition needs psychologists, communicators, healers. This is because when the leadership mindset doesn't match the mission, everything breaks. This isn't about villainizing politicians or praising engineers. It's about recognizing that structure and programming shape outcomes. It's about understanding that when a country is sick, we must first check the diagnosis before we prescribe a leader. We, the voters, are part of the system. We often choose leaders based on charisma, rhetoric, or regional identity, skills traditionally mastered by lawyers and politicians. We need to start demanding leaders based on their problem-solving credentials. This requires a societal shift. 1. Prioritizing credentials over charisma. When a city needs a light rail system, we should prioritize the candidate with a background in urban planning or civil engineering who can assess the structural integrity of the proposal, not just the one who gives the best rally speech about it. 2. Broadening the leadership pool. Political parties and systems need to actively recruit and mentor individuals from diverse, specialized fields, scientists, architects, public health experts, to break the dominance of legal and political science backgrounds. 3. Asking the right question. We must stop asking, who can win the election, and start asking, whose professional training is best suited to solve our country's 3 biggest problems right now. The common sense dictates that the mechanic fixes the car, the doctor heals the patient, and the architect designs the building. It's time we applied this same logic to national leadership. The uncommon sense suggests that our national problems are rarely solved in the courtroom. They're solved in the lab, on the construction site, or at the negotiation table. Here's the secret governments don't want you to know. Leadership is not about charisma. It's about cognitive compatibility. The next time someone tells you, we need fresh ideas, ask them, what lecture hall was your president sitting in at age 22? Because that room programmed the decisions they make at 62. This is Mindsets in Power, the playlist that reprograms nations. Every Saturday we will continue to break down crucial alignments and mismatches across the globe. We'll show you how the programming of a leader shapes the destiny of their nation, from infrastructure in Asia to democratization in Africa. Remember, when the mind in power doesn't match the national mission, progress stalls. Join the conversation. What professional mindset do you think your country needs right now and why? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Share this with the one person who still thinks elections are about tribe or slogans. Because when you change how people see leadership, you change what kind of leaders they'll accept.